Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Today's episode 13 of Coffee with Raf. I'm Raf, and I'm very happy for today because it's a very important episode. And I'm going to ask you the question, have you ever reached this plateau? Have you ever made some progress and then plateaued and then you didn't really know what to do about it? Well, in today's morning show, we're actually going to learn how to appreciate a plateau. It seems counterintuitive at first, but hear me out. We're not going to only learn to love this plateau, but we will talk about learning from it. Our teachers for the day, well, we'll continue with Jim Rohn and his book, Leading an Inspired Life. And to add to it, we will read a passage from George Leonard's Mastery. It's a really great book. It's in our reading list. Check it out. And if you've ever feel discouraged because you're hitting a wall, then this episode should do you good. I'm looking forward to get started. So let's start with the summary for today. In part 1, we will read a passage from our expert of the week, right? Jim Rohn, in his magnificent book, Leading an Inspired Life. It's literally quote after quote. Really get this book if you can. It's in our reading list. I will link it below. And we're also going to read a passage by George Leonard's book titled Mastery, another really, really cool book. In part 2, we'll take our journals out and ponder on the wisdom we just touched upon. Lucky for us, Jim Rohn is already asking us all the questions we need to journal today. So we're going to take some of his questions and we're going to journal about. In part 3, as always, I'll guide you through a visualization exercise. Remember the importance of visualization, first in our minds and then in the material world. And then part 4, we do our empowering affirmations. And finally, part 5, we will do a guided meditation. I hope you're excited as I am. If you are, please hit the like button and let's get started. Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Raf. If we've never met before, hey, welcome. This is our morning show, Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. Eastern. You don't have to do it at that time. A lot of people do it the next day because of time differences. But every single day we take some excerpts from some great books. Usually we take one book that we study for an entire week or two, and then we journal about it. We do some affirmations, positive affirmations, empowering affirmations. We do some visualization exercises, and of course we meditate together. So if this is interesting to you, please do consider subscribing to the channel. If you would like to get the exercises and affirmations directly in your inbox, I have created some free worksheets. The only thing you need to do is subscribe to the newsletter. That way you get them in your inbox every day. Also, this series is available on YouTube and on the podcast, so check out the links, or the links also for our reading list, our support group on Facebook, and so on. Let's start with a passage from Jim Rohn's book, Leading an Inspired Life. It's a really cool book, as I've said 1,000 times just today. And he says, I quote, "Take the time to reflect while you're enjoying your plateau. And while you're reflecting back on your past accomplishments, think about something else. Think about the potential within you that is still untapped. Consider the following 2 questions during your time of reflection. Number 1, what could I have achieved in the past had I been more diligent? Could I have been more disciplined, worked smarter instead of harder, said no more often to social functions and community commitments? What could I have achieved in the past had I tried things a little differently? Here's number 2. How can I achieve more in the future? If you take some time to thoughtfully answer question number 1, you'll probably have a clue as to what is needed in the future. Do you need to work more diligently? Do you need to be more disciplined? Do you need to work smarter instead of harder? Do you need to say no more often? Do you need to manage your time better?" End of quote. We'll answer these questions in just a minute, but in that chapter, Jim Rohn talks about Mastery, which is a book I've read by, and that I've really enjoyed. It's written by George Leonard. So let's read a passage from that too. It gives us a good parallel to that. Leonard says, and I quote, "Goals and contingencies, as I've said, are important, but They exist in the future and the past, beyond the pale of the sensory realm. Practice, the path of mastery, exists only in the present. You can see it, hear it, smell it, feel it. To love the plateau is to love the eternal now, to enjoy the inevitable spurts of progress and the fruits of accomplishment, then serenely to accept the new plateau that waits just beyond them. To love the plateau is to love what is most essential and enduring in your life. End of quote. And I love this. I really, really like this. Because we talk about these themes all the time on the channel, practicing presence, not when we do our meditations for transcendence, not starting our meditations with expectations, so that you don't project yourself into the future, so that you don't stay stuck in the past, so that you're here and now. And the plateau is what it's all about. This is the place we practice, whatever it is that we do, and as such, it is the place from which we gain mastery. He explains that we live in a society that wants us to move as very fast as possible. Today, even more than when this book was written, with social media and so on. And they want us to move as fast as possible from point A to point B, promising one climax to another. This, according to Leonard, means that society is in an all-out war against mastery, taking away what is most important, our plateaus, right? Plateaus are the places where you practice, where you take your time, and where you learn. If you just jump from one task to another as fast as possible, as he says, one climax to another, then you will be stuck. You will not be able to reach any kind of level of mastery. So let's reflect on that. Reflect on your plateaus in the different areas of your life, and for the love of mastery, don't try to avoid them. Plateaus are good. They're positive signs that you are learning, that you're doing the right thing. Don't go around the walls. Don't try to avoid them. Don't try to go around the walls. It's about learning to break those walls with your bare fist. That actually really matters. And you do this by staying a little bit longer on that plateau. Okay, so let's take out our journals. And if you want, you can pause the video or the podcast after I give you the instructions so that you can take a little bit more time. First, I want you to take 3 minutes on your timer. Yesterday we did 5, but today we're going to do 3 minutes on your timer and free write on your own plateaus. Remember, free writing exercise means that your pen just flows, or your fingers don't leave the keyboard, the pen doesn't leave the paper. You just write without editing yourself, without judging yourself, without judging what it is that you're writing. You just write and you don't stop. If you want to do more than 3 minutes, if you want to do 5 or 10, that's perfectly okay. As long as it's a certain amount of time where you will not stop writing at all, where you not edit yourself. Just let it flow. Let it flow on the paper from your imagination directly, from your mind directly, from your heart directly to the piece of paper. Okay? And then the second part of the journal exercise is to answer Jim Rohn's questions from before. They're all in our workbooks, so if you want to get those workbooks, they're completely free, those worksheets. I'll give you the link. But for now, I will tell you those questions. They are, number 1, do you need to work more diligently? Number 2 is, do you need to be more disciplined? Probably, for me anyway. Number 3, do you need to work smarter instead of harder? Number 4, do you need to say no more often? Number 5, do you need to manage your time better? And let me know in the comments below, actually, if these are themes that you would like us to touch upon. I've been studying time management and productivity and discipline and efficiency a lot lately, a lot, because I have so much things that I want to do. I have a full-time job. I have a daily YouTube channel, a daily podcast. I write the blog. I create all these worksheets. I have private clients, life coaching clients, meditation clients. I have a startup that we opened that we're working really hard on, and yes, and I have a new son and a family, and I do need to rest, of course. I have so many things and I only have 24 hours. So I have developed protocols and strategies to help me do that. So if this is interesting to you, please do let me know in the comments, and we can touch upon that in some future episodes or in some future blog posts or worksheets or whatever. Okay, let's move on to the next parts of our morning routine. First with visualization, then with empowering affirmations, and finally with meditation. Make sure that you're in some place where you can be sat nice and comfortably, where you'll not be disturbed, so that you can start closing your eyes and creating space. And as I said just now, close your eyes. And I want you to reflect on a time in your life where you hit a plateau. It can be in relation to a witness program where you couldn't lose those... What? So close your eyes. And I want you to reflect on a time in your life where you hit a plateau. It can be in relation to a fitness program, maybe, where you couldn't lose those last few pounds. It could be within your business or your career. Any area will do. Anything that matters to you. Remember what that plateau felt like. Now imagine you're facing that same plateau today, knowing what you've learned in today's episode. And in yesterday's episode, for that matter. Can you sense this opportunity to learn and to love that plateau rising? Feel and love that plateau as it is your path to mastery. Feel and love that plateau as it is your path to mastery. Don't get frustrated and impatient like you did before. Ask yourself the right questions. What can I learn from that plateau? Take your time. I'll give you a few minutes to ponder and appreciate, love, and guide yourself beyond. When we do these visualization exercises, it's very important to put as much feeling and emotion into them. You really want to teach your brain to commit to a certain behavior or to change a certain behavior. So put as much emotion. Emotion is key here. Feeling will be much more efficient than just thought. And let's move on to today's empowering affirmations. The first one is, I'm committed to mastery. Second one is, being committed to mastery means that I appreciate challenges. Next up, being committed to mastery means I embrace obstacles. Number 4, being committed to mastery means I can love and appreciate plateaus. Next, I am committed to learning from my plateaus. Last but not least, I am committed to moving forward even if that means being stuck for a while or moving very, very slowly. And on that, let's start with today's guided meditation. We will continue on the theme of following our breath for a few more days. I think it's very effective, very powerful, and so simple. You can reproduce these small meditations throughout the day. Maybe 30 seconds at a time in the afternoon and 30 seconds in the evening. And it's very simple. It's only being mindful of your breath without changing anything, without controlling anything, just observing. Learn to observe. Observe yourself breathing. And when you observe yourself breathing, really be mindful of the movements in your body, the feeling of the air coming in and coming out, the depth of your breath, the rhythm of your breath. And if it can help you, then you can count those breaths. The only reason I ask you often to count your breaths to 20 or 30 is just so that you keep the focus on your breath, so that your mind doesn't wander too far, too often. Just count it in and count it out. That's 1 and 2 in and 2 out. And really be mindful of the feeling of those breaths. Let's take one last deep breath. This time we take control over it, making it nice and slow and deep in through the nose. And on this exhalation, gently open your eyes. You can take a few moments for yourself now, and you're ready to start the day with passion, with grit, with panache, with enthusiasm, and with curiosity. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Check out all the links in the description so that you can get our free workbooks, our reading lists, our support group on Facebook. If you would like to contribute to my caffeine intake, you can get me a cup of coffee. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next episode tomorrow for episode 14 of Coffee with Raf. Take care. Bye.